Has it really been 3 years since Bethesda launched the 5th chapter of The Elder Scrolls, Skyrim? Have we really been living beneath the threat of arrow-to-the-knee jokes for so long?
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Indeed we have, and in all this time, Skyrim remains one of those games I can keep going back to again and again, even though I'll probably never finish it. In my last reckoning, I'd sunk about 160 hours into Skyrim. Judging by guides and summaries, it looks like I've seen about, a fifth of the main story. I've spent about a week of real-life time in Skyrim, and I still have no idea who Partharnax is, or Parthunax. I have no idea how to pronounce his name. I've never met the guy. And hey, that's totally fine. The Elder Scrolls is one of the original open-world franchises, predating Grand Theft Auto by a good several years, and as such, it's completely designed to let you goof around however you like. You can be boring and just travel the critical path through the land of Skyrim if you prefer, or you can ignore the plot and quests and play your own way. You can double down on leveling your character, mastering as many skills as you can stomach. You can pursue dumb NPC side quests, including the endless string of procedurally generated missions that the game will regurgitate until you get sick and just stop playing. You can focus on Skyrim Civil War, you can dabble in the DLC quests. If you want, you can let yourself become afflicted with vampirism or lycanthropy, and maraud the countryside as a demi-human. You can invent your own goals too, or say the hell with goals and simply enjoy the scenery. I spent a couple of days just wandering around Skyrim, sitting on people's porches and watching the sunset. They didn't seem to mind. The game Skyrim, of course, takes place in the eponymous land of Skyrim, the northernmost region of Tamriel. It's a much smaller land than, say, Daggerfall, but that's because there's less auto-generated content and much more designed, instant scenery, and it's all spaced more densely. In fact, that's a big part of the Skyrim's appeal. You can go wandering throughout the land, and everywhere you go, you're practically guaranteed to stumble across some new detail, some never-before-seen cavern or town or outpost. You can turn off the heads-up display icons and markers and travel blind, but personally I find it more compelling to have a constant sense of my surroundings. And more to the point, the parts of the world around me I've yet to discover, having those hover at the periphery of my vision. Of course, that's also why I've seen so little of the core story. I start meandering through the countryside en route to some planned objective when I see something interesting off to the side and start to investigate. 5 hours later, I realize I'm half the country away from where I needed to be. It's kind of like the video gaming equivalent of getting sucked into a series of increasingly arcane links at Wikipedia while you're supposed to be doing legitimate research, except unlike stumbling through Wikipedia, you level up in the process. As a game, there's no denying Skyrim has a ton of problems. Bethesda cleaned up the game's interface considerably from the previous entries in the series, but at the same time, this made things overly simple without really fixing some of the underlying mechanical issues the series had long faced. There's a lot of grinding, a lot of dull bits. Companions can be dumb as rocks. Animals will continue to attack you in the wilderness even after you can blast them off a cliff with a single shout. Combat can be excessively difficult or completely trivial depending on how you go about it. You can abuse summonses and escort missions to create an effectively game-destroying party of companions where you roll deep with a huge posse. Stealth is hilariously broken, and I've spent most of my time in Skyrim crawling around shooting people with arrows from outside the range of their vision, which, thanks to my stealth perks, can actually be about 3 feet in front of their faces. I've actually taken down the powerful Draugr lords, almost godlike beings of undead fury, in a couple of shots from my bow and arrow. Of course, it helps that I've spent so much time with archery and crafting and enchanting that my weapons are essentially mythic tools of the kind they normally only sing about in forgotten songs passed down through the ages. One of these days I'll go back to Skyrim and finish the quest lines for the various guilds, find all the stones of Baron Zaya too. Maybe I'll even finish the main storyline, who knows. I'll never complete the game 100% though, even if I wanted to. I've encountered a few glitches that make quests impossible to complete, but that too is okay. There's a certain comfort in knowing that anytime I want to return to Skyrim, my dark elf heroine is there waiting for me, ready to snipe dragons with the hunting prowess of Artemis. It's a game I can return to endlessly without fear that I'll ever see the end, because there's always one more quest to complete, one more hidden grotto where a secret story waits to be discovered. And who knows, maybe someday I'll find that jerk who stole my sweet roll.
Let me guess. Someone stole your sweet roll.
For more comfort food games, keep reading usgamer.net and subscribe to our YouTube channel.